Hey guys, welcome back to Dynasty Trading Room. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Instead of a film breakdown like normal, we're going to be getting into my top 12 running backs for this upcoming draft class. Who you should take in your Dynasty drafts. I'm going to be breaking down what I like and what I don't like about each prospect, maybe where I have them on my board, and why you should draft these guys. Without further ado, let's get into it. And the first player on my list is going to be Ashton Jeanty. You know, he needs no introduction by this point. Everybody knows who he is. Everybody knows about him. Top 5 player on my board in this whole draft class. Blue chip talent. This guy is just an awesome prospect, about as good as you can get. Gives you almost everything you could ask for. Great in pass protection, great production as a receiver. So he's going to be there on third downs. He's going to be on the field all the time. As a runner, you know, the contact balance is elite. It's incredible. He's so hard to tackle, plays so low, runs so low. Just excels with the pad level. The vision is elite. He's such a fast processor. He has no issues reading holes and reading lanes, cutbacks, everything like that. The big playability is there. Maybe not the very top end of the athlete, maybe like Saquon Barkley. That might be the only knock you could get on him. He's just a slightly above average athlete, but he excels in every other category. This guy should be the first player off your board in every dynasty draft you have. And here at number 2 is North Carolina's Omarion Hampton. And him, Kaleb Johnson, and TreVeyon Henderson, that group has kind of rotated around a lot for me for how they float around at 2, 3, and 4 ranking. But I think now that I've gotten through a lot more of the tape, I think Omarion Hampton has kind of emerged as a clear 2 for me. I'm not really sure you come up with a real comp for this guy other than just a battering ram with a jet engine strapped to the back. This guy is such a good athlete, just an elite top-end athlete, so twitchy. The long speed is there. He's a home run hitter. But he's such a strong and powerful runner, too. Probably the best contact balance in this class. Maybe right there with Ashton Jeanty, if not the best. This guy just bounces off people. He's so slippery and so powerful. He's so hard to bring down. You combine that with his top-end athleticism. The home run potential is always there on every single run. The eyes have gotten a lot better from 2023 to 2024. He's developed a lot in terms of how smart of a runner he is. The footwork has gotten a lot better. He's able to read in North Carolina's outside zone scheme. I think he'd be good in a gap scheme as well. I think this is a guy that's going to be versatile and flexible at the next level. And Omarion Hampton, I think, should be the second player off of your boards in all of your dynasty drafts. Is an early second round grade for me on my board and my running back too. And I think he's a very, very good player. Getting into the third player on my board is Iowa's Kaleb Johnson. And TreVeyon Henderson will be here on my actual draft big board at number 3. But for fantasy purposes, I think TreVeyon Henderson, there are some durability concerns with his injuries. I don't know if he's going to be able to handle a full RB1 workload in the NFL. I think he's going to be more of like a third down receiving back. So Kaleb Johnson is going to be my 3. Like I said, out of Iowa, Kaleb Johnson, I just put out a scouting breakdown on him not too long ago on the channel. If you guys want to go check that out. But he's just such a patient and smart runner. Probably the best vision in this whole class. His feet are so patient and so manipulative. He's so good at reading and manipulating second-level defenders, getting linebackers into the wrong lanes and opening up holes for himself. He's a powerful runner, carries his weight really well, great contact balance. Not the best athlete in the world. You know, that's the main limiter with him. He's just like a 4.5 or 4.6 40 athlete. He's not super fast, not a lot of twitch or burst. He's gonna get caught from behind a lot. But he does everything else well. You know, he's patient without being indecisive. Very, very smart. Can be creative in the open field when he needs to. Kind of in the same vein as Omarion Hampton, where they weren't really used as receivers in college, but it's not to say that they don't have the ability. If you get them in the NFL and somebody flushes out the route tree and they get to develop as a receiver, they could be somebody with some PPR upside there. But these guys are just such talented runners. They're going to be incredible in the NFL, especially Kaleb Johnson with how he executes his own scheme, with how well he reads defenses. Wherever he gets drafted, he's going to be a day one starter, and he's going to be incredibly productive. And at number 4 is going to be Ohio State's TreVeyon Henderson, like I just briefly mentioned. In terms of how good of a player he is, he's right there with Omarion Hampton for RB2 in this class. But like I said, the durability concerns knock him down a little bit. I'm not sure he's going to be able to handle a full-time, workhorse back workload. But this guy, he's just one of my favorite players I've ever evaluated. He's so much fun to watch. The twitch, the burst is there. He's such a twitchy athlete. The long speed is there. He's not going to get caught from behind. Not the biggest guy in the world, but he's got some pop to his run. He runs behind his pads. The contact balance for his size is really nice. He's one of the best receiving backs in this class. The route tree is fully flushed out and developed. He's got great hands. He had some really nice sluggos on his 2024 tape. I think if he gets in a creative offense, he's going to be able to really excel as a third down back. And he's going to be on the field every single third down. He's the best pass protecting running back I've ever evaluated. He's never going to come off the field on a third down, whatever offense he gets drafted into. And like I said, if he can stay healthy, if he can avoid some injuries that he struggled with in the past, he's going to be an incredibly productive player and a really fun player to watch at the NFL level. And at number 5 on my list is going to be Miami's Damien Martinez. This is a guy that we've talked a lot about in the mocks on this channel so far that we've done. And he's risen a lot during the All-Star circuit. He had a good Senior Bowl. Kind of a late riser on draft boards, but for good reason. This guy is such a powerful runner. One of the best bruisers in this class, but not to undersell his athletic ability. I mean, this is a guy that was a track star in high school, and he's got, the long speed is there. He's not going to get caught from behind a lot. And the lateral agility, the movement skills at his size are really, really unbelievable. The way he can jump cut so effortlessly while being 220 plus pounds, still running through guys' chests. He's got a great blend of movement skills and power and contact balance. I'd like to see him develop a lot more as a receiver. There wasn't really much there other than being a check down guy, flats, swings, that kind of stuff. He needs to improve in pass protection a lot. This is going to be a guy that doesn't really have a clear path to being on the field on third down at the NFL level, which may limit his production in PPR. But he's just one of the best pure runners in this class. Like I said, so powerful, so strong, while also having great movement skills and great vision. He's versatile. He played in a gap scheme at Oregon State and then transferred to his own scheme at Miami, and he excelled in both of them. So whatever scheme he gets drafted to at the next level, he's going to have no issues translating to that. And like I said, just one of the best pure runners in this class, and I think a guy that's going to be a safe bet in all of your dynasty drafts. Then number 6, I'm going to have one of my favorite guys in this whole class, and one of the players I'm highest on compared to consensus is Syracuse LeQuint Allen. LeQuint Allen is another guy who you're going to see a theme on this list of guys that had great Senior Bowls. LeQuint Allen was awesome in Mobile. He's had a great All-Star circuit. And the thing that really jumps off the tape first when you watch LeQuint Allen is just how advanced as a receiver he is and how good of a third down back he can be. You could put this guy out at slot receiver, and he would excel there. The route tree, route running ability, how he understands leverages, the footwork, the hands, they're all just at an elite level. One of the better receiving backs I've ever watched. Paired with maybe not quite as good as TreVeyon Henderson, but also right there for the top in this class as a pass protector. He's lethal in pass protection. Going to be a guy that never leaves the field on third down wherever he goes. But not to undersell his ability as a runner either. This guy is good contact balance, great vision. He's creative in the open field. He can move around a lot. He has a lot in his bag. Really, the only thing holding him back is just maybe a little bit of a limited athlete. Not quite that level of twitch and first level burst that you'd like. He's going to get caught from behind. But he's a very, very well-rounded running back. If you get this guy in a creative offensive scheme where you get to really utilize his receiving ability in PPR leagues, this is a guy that's a huge sleeper and somebody that's going to produce extremely well. And here coming in at number 7 is going to be Texas' Jaydon Blue. This is a guy that really didn't get a lot of talk before the Combine. Somebody we just recently talked about for the first time on this channel in our latest post-Combine mock draft. Blue, there's a lot of projection involved with this pick because he played second fiddle at Texas. He was a third down back, didn't get a lot of carries, but he made the most of the carries that he did get. Very, very raw as a runner. You'd like to see the vision get a little bit better. You'd like to see him get a little bit more creative. The contact balance isn't quite where you'd like it to be. But you're taking a bet on the athleticism. The ceiling is just so high. The athletic ability is absurd. I know he ran a 4.4 flat, but I expected this guy to run in the low 4.2s or mid to low 4.2s because he's just that fast on tape. He makes everybody else look like they're walking. The home run speed is there. He's a home run threat every single time he touches the ball. The long speed is just incredible. He's never going to get caught. But there, it's not to say he's a boom or bust guy too. I think there's always going to be a floor as a receiver because he's a great receiver too. Kind of in the same vein as the LeQuint Allen, you could put him in the slot and he would excel as a slot receiver. Great route runner, fully fleshed out route tree, great hands. He excelled as a third down back in Texas' offense. So I think I've thrown around the Devon Achane comp a little bit too loosely with a couple of guys in this class, but I think if I was going to pick one to give it to, it's probably Jaydon Blue. I think just a guy that's got a receiving floor, some PPR upside there, while also just being a home run hitter and somebody who didn't get a lot of carries in his college career. So you let him develop behind some NFL coaching, and he could turn out to be something really special. And here at number 8 is going to be Kansas State's DJ Giddens, who is not a name that we've mentioned on this channel yet, and not a name that I hear get mentioned nearly enough. He doesn't get nearly enough credit. Super underrated, massive sleeper. DJ Giddens is one of the more fun watches of this whole running back class that I got to do. One of the more fun evals. Not the greatest athlete in the world. Maybe a little bit of a low ceiling just because he's kind of a limited athlete. But he's so technically sound. The eyes and the vision are incredible. He's a veteran, or looks like a veteran at that point. He's just so advanced and developed in terms of his vision and his eyes and how quickly he processes and reads things and hits cutback lanes. This is a guy that's going to come into the league and be immediately NFL ready to be an RB2 or even an RB1, I could see in the right situation. He's a powerful runner. Not the biggest guy in the world, but he's sturdy. He's compact. He runs behind his pads. The contact balance is really nice. He can get shaky and elusive in the open field when he needs to. Didn't really get used a lot as a receiver in Kansas State, but again, like I've said with the other guys on this list, just because they didn't get used doesn't mean they can't do it. We see that all the time with guys that didn't get to do it in college, but they come into the NFL and are asked to go into that receiving role, and they can do it perfectly fine. So maybe he can contribute there. But like I said, the floor is really high as a runner. Just really, really smart, technically sound, powerful runner. I think he can come in and be a day one contributor to an NFL offense. And here at number 9 is going to be Arizona State's Cam Skattebo, who's been a massive name. Obviously, he had a great playoff run. That's where he picked up a ton of his fame. And somebody I'm a little bit lower on than most. Most people have him a lot higher than this at 9. That's not to say I don't like him. This whole list is very, very tight-knit. He's still, even as the 9th-ranked running back on this list, he's still an early 4th-round grade for me. It just speaks to the depth and how stacked this running back class it really is. The main thing holding me back with Skattebo is just I think he's a limited athlete. The long speed isn't there. The first-level burst, the twitch, it just really isn't there. It's not very explosive. And he didn't test at the Combine, I'm sure, as we all know, for pretty good reason. I think everybody who watched him knew he's probably going to be a 4.6, 4.7s type guy. He wasn't going to run very well. But he makes up for it in other ways. This guy is one of the strongest runners I've ever watched. He's really violent when he runs. You could throw an 18-wheeler at this guy, and he'd probably total it. He's a big, sturdy dude. He carries his weight really well, but the contact balance is just elite. He's never going to go down to the first tackler. He's going to keep bouncing off guys like a pinball. Doesn't get nearly enough credit for his vision and his eyes. I thought he was a really advanced processor when he was reading second-level defenders. I don't think people talk nearly enough about how smart of a runner he is. And I'm sure everybody knows the receiving upside by now. He's produced really, really well as a receiver at both Sacramento State and Arizona State. He's got a fully fleshed out route tree. The hands are really nice. So that's there, but I do worry about his ability to carve out a role as a receiver in the NFL, or as a receiving back in the NFL, because he's just such a disaster in pass protection. He's a complete liability pass protecting on third downs. So despite being one of the better receivers in this whole class at running back, I have a hard time seeing him finding a path or a role to get on the field on third downs in the NFL because he's so bad in pass protection. So maybe that's something that develops at the NFL level behind NFL coaching. I don't want to completely rule him out, but I just have a hard time seeing a path for him getting on the field in that role, paired with the limited athleticism. But I think he could be a short yardage, bruiser type back. I think he excels in that role. And there's still a lot to like about him. And coming in at number 10, another massive combine riser is Virginia Tech's Bhayshul Tuten. Tuten has been a guy that had a great Senior Bowl, started getting mentioned there, and then really came on the radar when he ran a 4.32 down in Indianapolis. And I'm surprised he didn't run faster than that, honestly. You watch this guy on tape, and the athleticism just absolutely jumps off the page. He's so twitchy, he's so fast. Just an absolute home run hitter every time he touches the ball. The vision can be kind of spotty, kind of 50-50, kind of hot and cold. You like to see him get more consistent there. Hopefully something that develops a little bit more at the NFL level. And again, this guy's not going to be an every down back. He's going to be a third down scat type receiving running back. But if you're in a PPR league, I think the same way you looked at an Israel Abanikanda a couple years ago. Maybe like a Marcus Yarns as well, who probably won't make this list, but is another great player who deserves to be mentioned. These third down backs, when you're as athletic and have that home run potential that Tuten does, there's PPR upside there, absolutely. And Tuten, the contact balance is pretty good for being as small of a back as he is. But like I said, the home run speed, the twitch, And he'd probably be a lot higher on this list if he didn't have the massive ball security issues that he does. He's had 8 fumbles over the past 2 seasons, and that's not a lot of carries either. 8 fumbles is really, really bad. But, we've seen guys have major ball security issues, and it just completely evaporated at the next level. Like Jahmyr Gibbs is the best example. Had major ball security issues in college, but he got to Detroit, and they fixed that almost immediately, and we all know what Jahmyr Gibbs is now. So Tuten, the athletic upside is massive. Going to have a PPR floor because of his receiving ability. And he's a guy you take a shot on late in rookie drafts, and he has the potential to pay off really, really well in the future. And here coming in at number 11 is Georgia's Trevor Etienne. Another guy I really have not heard get mentioned enough. I think he kind of flew under the radar, being one of the less exciting members of this team, the less exciting members of that Georgia offense. But he's just such a technically sound runner and a smooth mover. Just like silky smooth. All of his movements. Nothing is rigid or sharp with him. He's very, very smooth. He knows how to take contact really well, which I think is an underrated trait in running backs. Guys, kind of like not that I'm comparing him to Derrick Henry, but it's something that Derrick Henry was elite at. If you go and watch him, guys that know how to kind of slip off of tackles and take contact from the side rather than head on, kind of helps them, especially when you have the contact balance that a guy like Etienne does. You just really slip off of tackles, like guy. It's really hard for guys to bring you down. He's got good vision. Not the best athlete in the world. I think he's pretty limited in that aspect. But this is a guy that is a powerful runner, good vision. I think he can come in and be a solid RB2 early on as a role and could give you some pretty decent production even as a rookie. And coming in last but not least at number 12 is SMU's Brashard Smith. Again, I sound like a broken record, but a guy who had a great all-star circuit, a great week down in Mobile. He tested really well in the drills down there at the Senior Bowl. He's a converted receiver, actually, from Miami. Transferred from Miami to SMU and switched from receiver to running back, like we saw with Tyrone Tracy last year, who's become a really, really nice fantasy name. And that pops, obviously, with the receiving ability with Brashard Smith. Going to be an awesome day one, third down running back. The receiving ability is fully fleshed out. The route tree, the route running, the hands, they're all fully developed. He's awesome as a receiver. The athletic upside is massive with this guy as well. He's so fast and so twitchy. The home run ability is there every time he gets his hands on the ball. But the fact that it's really only his first or second year as a running back really, really shows. He's very raw and underdeveloped with his eyes. Doesn't read second-level defenders very well. Misses a lot of his bounce reads and his cutback reads. A lot of times he's just too stubborn to get off his primary lane. But I think, like I said, this is a guy whose best days at running back are ahead of him. He's brand new to the position. You got these massive athletic traits, the receiving upside. You get this guy with a good coaching staff, and you really learn the nuances of the position for a guy that hasn't been playing it that long. You pair that with the massive athletic traits and the receiving ability. This is a guy that maybe you don't draft in a dynasty draft, but maybe you get like as your first waiver pickup post draft, and kind of stashing him on like a taxi squad or low on your bench or whatever. And this is a guy that could develop into a very, very serious starting role and could be a serious producer in the future. And while I know I've already listed 12 running backs, this running back class is so good and so deep. I feel like there's still a couple guys that deserve some honorable mentions here. Kansas' Devin Neal. That guy's really, really fun. Not quite the athlete you'd like, but he's very, very elusive in the open field. He's got some contributing as a receiver. Taj Brooks out of Texas Tech is another guy that's really, really fun, really elusive. He gets some highlight reel tapes of just breaking ankles. He can make somebody miss in a phone booth. Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State is somebody that didn't get mentioned on this list, and I know some people are very, very high on. I struggle with his lack of athleticism, and the vision is just not where I'd like it to be. But he's a violent runner, very, very strong, very, very productive on a good Ohio State team. So I understand why people like him. I'm just a little bit lower on him, but he still deserves a mention. And Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee is the same way. A lot of people really, really like him. And I see the athletic traits. Another track star in high school, and it's apparent on the tape. He's explosive. The long speed is there. I think the vision has a very, very long way to go. But he could be another guy in the same vein as like Brashard Smith, like what I was talking about, where you just kind of stash him and let him develop. You bet on the athletic traits. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for this list. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to comment any grievances you have with this list or anything you want to debate or talk about. I always love to have any draft discussion with you guys. Go back and forth in the comments. If you want to see more breakdowns from me specifically, check out @Iron City Film on X or Twitter. And I will see you guys in the next one.